Here's what you should know about your local housing market in this week's Market Update. There's a hot topic within the real estate community right now around clear cooperation. Now, not to get too nitty gritty, but in a nutshell, clear cooperation is a rule that many MLSs and realtor associations have that say, if I am as a realtor am going to list a house for sale, I need to put it in the MLS, I need to put it on the open market, I need to advertise it to other realtors in the area, and I need to be willing to cooperate with all realtors in the area on the sale of that home. Now, without getting into opinions, there is a discussion to eradicate clear cooperation, to say that while the way of doing things may not necessarily be a bad thing, but that the consumer should have a choice, and if they opt to not go on the open market, that should be allowed. Now, it is interesting in the current market environment where we have super high demand, super low inventory. I am seeing not a lot, but more so than I feel like I have in most of my career, some sellers opting to go off-market pocket listing, exclusive, to only promote their home to a small buyer pool, small number of agents, keep it off the internet. And sometimes there may be reasons why that makes sense. With the advent of AI, with the proliferation of, the internet age and data and information everywhere, I'm seeing more and more so homeowners not fully understanding their rights as it comes to their home. When you purchase a home, you purchase the deed to that home. You do own that home. However, I've seen a lot more consumers not understanding this. You do not own the license to your home. You own the deed to your home. What do I mean by that? You do not own the intellectual property of your home. If you hire me to sell your house and say, Ryan, go nuts, get as much data as you can on this home, photos, floor plans, videos, promote it everywhere out on the internet. And then somebody else comes in and purchases your home. Whatever was done with photography, videos, floor plans, and promoted out in the open, you don't really have a say in that. You could ask nicely if you don't want it out there and hope that some people comply with you, but you really do have no rights to the license and intellectual property surrounding your home. So as I see, the internet age and the AI age developing, I do see more and more consumers concerned with their privacy and security. So I do see certain motivations, behind these pocket listings, these off-market listings, exclusive listings, and I do understand them. And it will be really interesting to see how that plays out in the marketplace. Keep in mind, we're in a very unique market right now where super low inventory, super high demand, and while some homeowners might be concerned with keeping their home and their information private with an off-market listing and may succeed in getting a very favorable sale in the current market, if and when that market shifts to be more of a buyer's market, it'll be very interesting because, when that's the case, it's promote my home everywhere, do whatever you can, to get buyers in the door. So it'll be interesting to see not only how that debate between clear cooperation shapes out, but more so how clear cooperation, exclusive listings, things of that sort shape up down the road as we see the market shift. Not that we see it happening anytime soon, but eventually when we see that market shift to more of a buyer's market from the seller's market. So that being said, let's get into the data this week and see what's happening in your local market in a lot of the towns that we regularly do business in, including Morristown, Chatham, Madison, Harding, Morris Plains, Mendham, Chester, Bernardsville, Basking Ridge, and Randolph. So this past week, we saw 45 new listings come on the market in these towns. That is a 15% decrease from last week. The town with the most homes coming on the market this past week was Randolph with 8. In second place, we had Mendham, Chatham, and Morristown, both with 7. It's about 50-50 split. About half of these towns saw an increase in new listings from last week, and about half of them saw a decrease from last week. Out of these homes, 39 of these were single-family houses, and only 6 of them were condos or townhouses. The average list price of these homes was $1,479,000. That is a 13% increase over the prior week. The town with the highest average list price this past week was Harding, with an average list price of $4,263,000. That is a 194% increase over the prior week. Now in Harding, we see typically very low inventory, very low activity. So some weeks you see no homes sell, some weeks you see 1 or 2 homes sell. So it's not abnormal to see a drastic change in the average list price and average homes on the market in Harding. Total inventory. Currently in these towns, we have a total of 201 homes actively on the market. That is a 22% decrease over last week. So a significant decrease in the number of homes actively on the market from last week. The town with the most number of homes on the market is Mendham, with 39 homes on the market, and Morristown and Morris Township with 33 homes actively on the market. And at the bottom of the barrel, we have Morris Plains with only 6 homes on the market, and Madison with only 9 homes on the market. Sold homes. We saw just 16 homes sell this past week in these towns. That is a 43% decrease from the prior week. The town with the most number of homes sold this past week was Chatham with 7. And that is a clear winner with most number of homes sold. Second place was Morristown and Township with 4. And other than that, we had Morris Plains, Chester, and Basking Ridge with no homes sold this past week. And the rest of them just had one home sell this past week. That's Randolph, Bernardsville, Mendham, Harding, and Madison. Average list price of these homes, $1,220,000. Average sale price was $1,320,000. So this past week, we saw homes sell for an average of 9.8% above the list price. The town with the highest above list price, that was Mendham, with homes this past week selling for 24% above list price. Second place was Randolph, with homes selling for 11% above list price. And then Chatham with homes selling 10.2% above list price. Now, all the towns that did have homes sell, the lowest amount above list price was Morristown and Morris Township with 2.5% above list price. So we saw homes selling this past week anywhere from 2.5% above list price to 24% above list price. So as we mentioned, we're continuing to see that number rise. The bidding wars are getting a little bit wild. I'm not seeing as many showings and offers on the homes that I'm selling, but I'm seeing the competition within those few buyers increasing ever so greatly. Prices going much, much higher over list price than we had seen previously. So average days on market for homes sold was 16 days. That's a 6% increase over the prior week. Under contract homes, we saw 32 homes go under contract this past week. Morristown and Morris Township had 8 homes go under contract, and Basking Ridge had 7. The rest were between 0 in Morris Plains up to 3. So most of these towns saw very few homes go under contract. We saw a 35% decrease in the number of homes that went under contract this past week. The average list price of these homes was $1,272,000, which is a 20% increase over the prior week. And we saw median days on market of 15 days, which is a 3% decrease over the prior week. So as always, we've always got many changes, interesting, exciting things happening in the real estate market. Always things for us to stay on top of and stay cutting edge with to help best serve you, the consumer, our clients. We're always happy to guide you through this ever-changing market and process, and we're always here to answer your questions. So thanks for checking in with me. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll catch you again next week.